So this is a webinar to review the pregnancy leave overview, and that is actually going to take us into our agenda. So in this presentation, we will look at what is a pregnancy disability leave versus the Family Medical Leave Act, the FML, and the California Family Rights Act. Specific to California, the family medical is the federal leave. Then we will look at what is parental bonding, the eligibility for the two different types of leaves, the pregnancy leave and the parental bonding. What are your income replacements? And then benefits. Okay, so there are two different types within a pregnancy leave. One of them is the pregnancy disability leave. The second piece is the parental bonding. So naturally, for most employees, we are going to be looking at the pregnancy leave first in order of your time away under a leave. And this would be for various reasons, such as a general pregnancy or pregnancies with related medical conditions and childbirth. The parental bonding typically comes after the birth, and this would be bonding time with a new child after the birth, or if you're an adopted parent, or foster care placement. So those are the two different types of leave within an overall pregnancy leave. Looking at the pregnancy disability leave first, we are going to look at the various, what would you say, components to the pregnancy leave. A pregnancy disability leave can be up to 4 months per pregnancy. Now, the 4 months does have some factors involved with that time, and we will look at that in a few slides. It is job protected time. It is for yourself, the expectant. It is not for the child, but is for the employee themselves. It can be taken as a continuous leave, so blocks of time, or an intermittent leave, so as needed. And it is unpaid. That is why we will be talking about the income replacement options. What are your eligibility requirements for a pregnancy disability leave? No minimum work hours. So if any of you, either of you have ever had a different kind of a leave, such as an FML or a CFRA, those requirements are a little more strenuous, I guess, but not with the pregnancy disability. So no minimum work hours, no length of service requirements, and again, this is an unpaid leave. I'm going to jump forward. There we go. Then looking at the California Family Rights Act and the parental bonding, this would be time for birth and care of an employee's newborn bonding up to their first birthday, placement and care of an employee's adopted or foster care child. So I really want to emphasize the eligibility for the parental bonding, and I apologize I did not put that in the title of but the difference with the parental bonding versus the pregnancy disability leave is that the parental bonding is anchored with or attached to both the Family Medical Leave or the California Family Rights Act. So both of those leaves require 12 months of service, so 12 months of employment. And if you've been working with in UC and you've transferred, taken new positions, you do not restart your hire date. So 12 months from your hire date is your 12 months of service. But you do need 1,250 hours worked within the 12-month period. Both of those are required. It's not one or the other. The 1,250 hours for a full-time employee generally takes about 6 months each calendar year. If you're part-time, it'll take you the full calendar year. Please note that when we are looking at the actual time worked, it is actual time worked. It would not include if you had a leave during that year, any sick time that you're taking, vacation time, personal holidays. So it really is the days and hours that you do work. And this specific is the eligibility for the parental bonding. So now let's take a look at lengths of the leaves. PDL, as we mentioned, is up to 4 months. However, if you're having a standard pregnancy, the pregnancy disability leave is generally 6 weeks for a natural delivery and 8 weeks for a cesarean delivery. And in between all of that, some employees will take anywhere from 2 weeks prior to the date of birth or 30 days up to the date of birth. And, those with pregnancies that might have complications, you will take additional time either before or after the birth to help you recover from the pregnancy. Once you've recovered from the pregnancy and you're ready to move forward, you can look into taking parental bonding time. Parental bonding time, as we previously mentioned, is anchored to FML and CFRA, and FML and CFRA are 12 weeks each calendar year or 480 hours. The parental bonding must be taken within 1 year of the child's birth or adoption. So let's say you have a child that's born in September and you take most or some of your time in that year. Come January, you might have some additional time for parental bonding, but you would need to take that before the following September. So it all has to be done within 1 year of the child's birth. Okay, moving on. Running leaves concurrently. So PDL, pregnancy disability leave, is usually tied to FML when the employee is eligible. Again, the eligibility is the 12 months of service and 1,250 hours. So if you were both eligible for an FML as well as your PDL, again, PDL, the standard is, no service hours and no time, length of time needed. You can immediately start looking at taking pregnancy time off for pregnancy, birth-related conditions for yourself. Now, that means when you are eligible for FML, we do run those concurrently. So just making that clear, and this can sometimes impact the amount of time you have off later on for the parental bonding. So when we're looking at parental bonding, the FML and CFRA run concurrent. So if you see there on the screen, FML can be used in both types of leaves. And that just means sometimes you want to be very careful about the time that you're taking. You might want to be a little strategic about the time that you're taking so that you can maximize the most out of your parental bonding. Okay. Leave frequency. We touched upon this in the first slide, but leaves can be taken in either a continuous or intermittent frequency. A continuous leave is taken as a block is what we call it, of time for an uninterrupted period, while an intermittent is taken in separate non-consecutive blocks of time. The continuous applies to the PDL and parental bonding. And I do want to I want to take a little time to look at this. A continuous leave under a PDL, again, is blocks of time. The PDL leave allows you to take both continuous and intermittent time. However, the parental bonding time is taken when it is paired with, this is a lot to digest. It must be taken in blocks of time when you're doing parental bonding with the pay for family care. Okay, questions afterward. I hope there will be questions. Okay, so now let's take a look at your income replacement. At the top, you'll see that FML, CFRA, and PDL leaves are job protected time only. Again, they do not pay you while you are out on your leave. So how would you go about receiving pay? Well, you can do that several different ways. The most obvious one would be using your accrued sick or vacation time, any compensatory time if you do accrue that. I will talk about the pay for family care and bonding that is offered through UC. There's also disability insurance, and sort of as a last opportunity, cat leave donations. An unpaid leave is pretty much an unpaid leave, and that is where you would take time off with leave no pay. So looking at sick and accruals, sick and vacation, both policy and represented employees accrue sick and as well as vacation. Now that your accruals are all dependent on the length of time you've been here, and as well as the compensatory time, it's all dependent on, if you're represented, and I believe policy covered employees do not accrue compensatory time. But those, when we're looking at accruals, it's sick, vacation, and compensatory. Now looking at the pay for family care and bonding, which you can utilize when you're under the parental bonding. The PFCB, as we call it, is a pay option which provides income replacement of up to 100% of your eligible earnings for up to 8 work weeks per calendar year. This is provided to you through UC. And when we talk about 8 weeks per calendar year, please keep in mind that those 8 weeks sit within the 12 weeks of the FML and CFRA. So it's not 12 weeks of FML and CFRA and then 8 weeks of the PFCB. What it means is within the 12 weeks of your FML and CFRA in your parental bonding, 8 weeks of it can be for the paid under the pay for family care and bonding. So that's why within the next little block we have to qualify for PFCB, you must be FML and or CFRA eligible. Employees not eligible for PFCB may be eligible for California's paid family leave. Now that gets a bit tricky because there are certain time frames within that as well. This is why it's very important that you connect with your leave coordinator who will provide you with a consultation. Everyone's leave is different, so we will work with you individually to see what that looks like. I want to also talk about how if you're not eligible for the pay for family care and bonding at the time of the birth, it might mean that as you become eligible, you can take that time off in the future. So let's say you've only worked with UC for 10 months, you have your child. That means once you get to the 12-month mark and have 1,250 hours, and you sit within the 1 year of the child's birth, you can then reach back out to your leave coordinator and request to take parental bonding under the PFCB. So please keep that in mind. If you're not eligible at the time, you can become eligible later on. Okay. Now looking at the disability insurance, there are 3 tiers. There is the basic, the short-term, and the long-term disability. Basic is automatic enrollment for every employee upon hire, and UC provides for that one. It is a maximum benefit of $800 a month. So that's to every employee. The short term, though, is a voluntary buy-up that each employee must choose upon hire. It is not an option in open enrollment. It is a opportunity to enroll within the first 31 days of hire. So if you have not elected to buy into the short term, it does not mean that you cannot. It just means that you would have to do it separately outside of, you would have to do an evidence of insurability. Please keep that in mind as you plan for your time away. So if you have elected to buy into the short term disability, that provides up to 60% of your earnings for up to $15,000 a month. And with that, it is combined with the basic. So keep in mind that if you do have the short term, the basic will pay 800, and then whatever the difference is between 800 to get you up to the 60% will be paid out in the short-term disability. If you were to need additional time, oh, and that is up, the short term is up to 6 months. After that, then we would be looking at long term. I'm not going to go into too much detail on the long term, other than it is an option that we would look into after 6 months. Okay. Initiating a leave. We have several different ways in which you can reach out to the leave team and begin your process. One of them is a newer uh, site that we have been working on that we're right now calling the portal, where you can go in and do kind of a self-service. You can go in and create a leave, start a leave through that by answering a few questions, and then your specific leave coordinator would get back to you. We also have a listserv under SHR Leave at ucsc.com. You can email that email, and then one of us, whoever your specific leave coordinator is, will reach back out to you to schedule time with you. Or if you happen to know who your leave coordinator is, by reviewing the locate your team, by going to locate your team, you can reach directly out to your leave coordinator. The basic paperwork everyone pretty much needs to get started is a leave of absence request form and to obtain medical certification. Then once we receive that paperwork, it's usually around that time, we're ready for a consultation and then potentially looking at a return to work if needed. Okay, so what are the employee's responsibilities when starting a leave? If possible, an employee should give the supervisor 30 days advance notice, as well as your leave coordinator. Additional time before the 30 days is also a good idea, but 30 days is a very good milestone in getting all the paperwork together and your leave set up. The requirements, the legal requirements for obtaining certification is 15 calendar days. After 15 calendar days and you still need additional time, it is there for you. If you're in communication with us, an additional 7 days is available. The employee's responsibilities also include obtaining medical certification. This is key and critical to formalizing your leave. So you might tell us that you're going out on a leave and you set everything up, but without the medical certification, we will not formalize and place your leave in UC Path from going from an active status to a leave of absence. So please keep that in mind. And then for those that are bypassing or do not need to apply for pregnancy disability leave, but immediately going into or taking time off for parental bonding, a birth certification worksheet or form that the hospital provides or a birth certificate will be needed in order to verify that you've had a child and that you will be taking parental bonding time for them. Okay, other types of leaves often referred to as leave extensions. So, I mean, it's very common that leaves are fluid, and it's very hard to predict what will occur at the beginning of your leave. So, if you're a represented employee, Your contract has built in extra medical time if needed. If you exhaust all of your FML and CFRA, so for represented staff, if the employee has exhausted their 4 months of pregnancy disability leave and perhaps even their FML and CFRA, there is an opportunity to look at extending your leave more on up to 12 weeks. For the policy represented employees, we have what is called supplemental FML. So that's an extension of 12 weeks under that. And then if all of those have been exhausted and still additional time is needed, or you have not qualified for various leaves, you can ask for a personal leave. However, it does require department approval. So, with the disability and supplemental leave, I do want to reiterate that those two would need to be medically certified. Okay. So now looking at your benefits during your leave. So when you're on a leave that is paid, it means that you are generating a paycheck through UC. So if you do have benefits with UC, they are able to make those premium monthly or biweekly or premium deductions through the payroll. So when you are on an unpaid leave of status, it becomes your responsibility to pay those premiums directly to UC Path, and we do provide information on how you may do that. UC Path will bill you, so you would not pay them until you receive a bill from them. So what does this mean? It means when it comes to benefits and your premiums, if you stay within the 12 work weeks of a calendar year and you have a disability claim, which you potentially would if you have pregnancy disability leave, UC continues to pay their portion of the premium as well, and then the employee would continue to pay their portion. When you fall outside of the 12 work weeks and you do not have a disability claim, it becomes a responsibility of the employee to cover the full cost. Now, before you get there, please reach out to your leave coordinator and just kind of check in, or even the benefits department to really get an idea of what that might look like. If your benefits become too costly, there is a benefits billing election form in which you can review and determine that you might want to reduce or take away a benefit until you return. And with that, with every leave packet that we do send out, there is a document that we have put together. The benefits team has done a wonderful job of putting together what we call the benefits billing fact sheet, which would provide you with all the necessary information to, get an idea of what your options are. Okay. Resources. There are actually a lot of resources out there for you, and the links are included in the PowerPoint. Each of them have been created by UC, and there is one for UC's FML and the PDL, pregnancy disability leave. The pregnancy disability leave they refer to as the pregnancy, newborn child, and adopted child fact sheet. There is the UC pay for family care and bonding fact sheet, as well as disability and benefits overall. So if we have not covered it today in detail, these fact sheets provide wonderful detail. And within those, if there is information in which you would like us to sort of break down and make bite-sized pieces for you, please reach back out to your leave coordinator or benefits, and they will walk you through that. Okay. And so that concludes our presentation as an overview. And so now we can look at taking any questions.
And there's a couple of questions I'm going to read off to you,
Okay.
Cami, here, but kind of tagging on to what Cami has said. If you want to know what the university is contributing as far as your the employer portion
Oh
of your
yeah.
benefits, you can view that every month by looking at your
Yeah.
pay stub. So every month it says employee contributions, your deductions. On to the right, it says employer deductions. People are usually kind of shocked about the amount that's put in just for your health insurance. So just be aware of that amount. It's on your pay stub every month. Additionally, after today's presentation, I'm going to send the slides to you, and I'm going to try to download those fact sheets for you to put in the follow-up summary to you. So let me go ahead and read some of these questions. I'm not sure if
Okay.
my other leave colleagues have answered them already, but I'm just going
Okay.
to put them out there. How does one qualify for the full 4 months of PDL, or is it determined by the medical provider?
Yes, great question. And I don't think I mentioned that in the course of the presentation, but yes, you and your physician would make that determination. Of course, the two of you would be having conversations about how you're feeling, what's going on with the pregnancy. Ultimately, the medical certification is what we use to record your time away. So if your doctor is recommending potentially 3 months before you are due to give birth that you need to be out for some reason, they can write that in the medical certification form, and that's what we would use to place you out on that for that time. And let's say after, so you would have used up potentially 3 months. Now, keep in mind that after the birth, you would want to allow yourself 6 or 8 weeks to recover under the pregnancy disability leave time that is available to you. And if you have the short-term disability, in that 6 or 8 weeks is when you can continue to be out and draw upon a disability claim that pays you, again, if you have the short term, 60% of your wages. So, again, just going back, it would be conversations that you have with your doctor and then ultimately what they prescribe.
Okay, and the next question came in, can PFCB be used under PDL?
No, those are two different types of leave. One, again, the pregnancy disability leave is for the individual, so the employee, yourself, and the parental bonding, pardon me, is for your bonding with your child. So really the parental bonding is for your child. So one is for yourself and one is for your child.
Okay, and where do you send birth certificate just to leave coordinator birth certificate? Is that, I don't know if you, do they send the birth certificate to you?
Yeah, we haven't had to require that.
Yeah.
So
That would be for, let's say, someone who is just taking the parental bonding. So I've had several employees who are the spouse or the partner, and they're not doing the PDL. So to verify that they've had a child and taking the parental bonding, there would be some sort of document that would inform us that a child has been born and at what time so that we can again make sure that any parental bonding time taken is done within the first year of the child's birth.
And that being said, if we're talking about birth certificates, about 3 months after the baby has been born, you will get a notification from Unify HR, or family member verification vendor. So they will verify your dependent. Usually you'll see that email about, not email, you will have an email too, but it's a hard copy letter from the company Unify HR, and they will instruct you on which documents would be asked upon during that process.
Okay, yeah, so it's kind of a, if you're providing it to us, you'll need to provide it elsewhere at a later time. So
Not
I
original, it'd be a copy. Yes.
Yes, yeah, and from what I understand, the hospital, it does not have to be the birth certificate if the hospital provides you. I researched this, some type of document upon your leave from the hospital. Again, this is for those that are not doing the pregnancy disability leave, but are utilizing the parental bonding.
Okay. And then in terms of benefits, I understand we pay the premium for medical, dental, and vision. If we are on unpaid leave, we're going to go into that in a second, but do we also have to continue to pay for retirement, or does that pause during unpaid leave? So yes, when you're on unpaid leave, your retirement contributions cease. But and what this means is that your service credit is not accruing during that time, but you do have the ability to buy that service credit back when you return to active status. So that's always a possibility. But yes, you are correct. You do not make a retirement contribution during that leave. And like Cami was saying, depending on your unpaid leave, where you're at in that disability or in that leave period, the university contributes to the employer portion of medical, and it would be the full contribution for dental and vision. So when you merge in past that, is it the 12-week period, Cami?
Hmm.
When you go past that period, then you would be on unpaid leave. You just be on a regular leave, unpaid leave, and at that point, it would transition to owing for the full amount. So that's employee and employer contribution. So you would need to make those continuation payments, if you choose to. You could choose to cancel those benefits during your unpaid leave towards the end there if you choose to. And how can you start the process for short-term insurance?
So, within a leave packet that is sent out, we provide the information on how to contact Lincoln Financial. So they're the ones that administer it. It does not go through the leaves team, but we provide the contact information and you would reach out to them either through their website or you can call them and they will initiate the process for you. We both require medical certification, although theirs might require a little bit more than what we require. So please keep that in mind.
Yeah, and you could actually, and then it looks like we got the same type of question right below that. So, like Cami said, she will send you the link if you're contributing right now to your short and long-term disability. You're already an active participant in the Lincoln plan. If you haven't established a username and password already, you can do that even before you file a disability
Hmm.
claim. So you could just go to the Lincoln Financial website and then establish a username and password directly from there. Okay. Also, if in case you're wondering where you would find Lincoln financial information, we always advise employees to look at all things benefits would be under the UC Net website, and that's ucnet.universityofcalifornia.edu. You just put under the search field short-term disability, and I'm just going to put that in there, net. And you will find the link directly to Lincoln Financial. Yes, you will receive a recording after today. And there you go. ucnet.universityofcalifornia.edu. Any other questions? Company code for Lincoln Financial, is it
University.
university? Okay. Okay, I don't see any other questions. What do you
Sorry,
do?
I was just wondering for the Lincoln Financial company
Mhm,
code. I know all of that information is in the usually the leave of absence cover letter and notice.
mhm,
And
mhm.
it says that the company code for Lincoln Financial is university.
And it's not working for you?
Mm-mm. No, it's not.
Could you have already established a username and password from their site, or?
I can check. Yeah, I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure I had the correct
Yeah,
information.
Yeah,
I think university is used when you're initially opening
we can
an
we could
account.
take that, yeah, we with the administrators if there's a issue, get back to you
Thank you.
in us today. And we will definitely be sending the summary and the survey and the reporting to you afterwards. And thank you all very much for joining us. Have a great day.